I would love to see a number. Maybe you've come across this number, Cam, a number of guys that have gone through the transfer portal and announced that they are moving on to another team. It has to be a long list of guys. It has to be into the hundreds, I think, at this point.
Yeah, no, it has to be a ton. I know 247 Sports put up like a transfer portal thing, you know, where they did a database to have all the guys who are in there listed and everything. I can't actually find my way to navigate to that right now, but it's more than a couple, but it's you know, it's just pretty much about the same. I want to say with people transfer, it's maybe a little bit more transferring now because it's so above board. But there were always transfers in college sports. I mean, I know Jeff Goodman and a bunch of other college basketball writers, John Rothstein and a couple other people, they create a list of the transfers for basketball every year, and that's usually 300 or 400. You know, so having a similar number for football with a much, much larger roster base. I mean, you're talking 13 scholarships on basketball versus 85 on football. Now, I know that there's more basketball D1 teams, but still, I think that the numbers will be in favor of football. You know, yeah, there's just a lot of guys out there. And, you know, Miami has actually gotten a lot of top guys according to 247's rankings. So what they did, 247 Sports, that is they went back and they ranked all of the transfers like as though they were recruits. So, you know, based upon what they've done, based upon their potential, they put them in order from top to bottom. So like which recruit or which transfer on the market would be a 5-star, which would have the most immediate impact. And Miami actually has done pretty well. Bubba Bolden, who's coming from USC by a junior college, he is the number 4 overall ranked transfer with a grade of 95. Basically, he's going to hit the field right away and play. And so he's behind Jalen Phillips, who Miami might be going after as a outside linebacker, defensive end. And then numbers 2 and 1 were Jalen Hurts and Justin Fields, which, duh. You know, you move down from that, and then Tate Martell, one of the quarterbacks, former 5-star, is ranked number 10. Behind him, KJ Osborne, wide receiver, who's from Ypsilanti, Michigan, Detroit stand-up. Originally, he transfers from Buffalo to Miami. He's ranked number 11 overall on the transfer market. Asa Martin from Auburn is number 17 overall, and he's from Auburn to Miami. And then the top, or number 50 on the top 50, is Tommy Kennedy from Butler coming to Miami. So yeah, that's 5 guys who've transferred to Miami in the top 50. Of the available transfers. And that's pretty good. I mean, you got number 4 overall, 3 of the top 11, 4 of the top 17, and 5 of the top 50 available transfers coming to Miami. Dude, that's how you bridge the gap of a substandard recruiting class. And we're just going to keep it real. This recruiting class of high school kids only is not Miami caliber. It just is not. There are some standouts. You have Jeremiah Payton, who's already on campus. You already have Jafari Harvey, who's already on campus. Jason Blissett, 4-star defensive tackle coming down from New York City. Brooklyn, I should say. Brooklyn stand up. You know, there are talented players. Keontre Smith from Chaminade, Corey Couch, also from Chaminade down here in Hollywood. There are talented players, but not enough of them. There's a lot of filler and there's low numbers. So you have to find a way to infuse talent to the roster in a non-traditional way. We've seen that with Coach Larinaga in the basketball program. Speaking of which, basketball is leading 9-8 right now at 12:02 left in the first half. So he's done that because Miami is not basketball is not a traditional high recruiting power. So you have to get transfers to fill in some of those gaps. Angel Rodriguez, Sheldon McClellan, that happened there. Manny Diaz is doing the same thing right now by getting all of these guys to come in and fill some of those gaps on the recruiting trail, especially for this year. The bump you're probably going to see for a first-year coach happens their first full cycle, which would be the 2020 cycle. But yeah, Miami has worked to add a lot of talent through transfers, even though, you know, you're losing Marquez Ezard, you're losing Lawrence Cager, you're losing Hayden Mahoney. But I mean, if I got to trade those 3 for the 5 we got, look, I wish you the best, but I'm gonna send y'all packing for the, you know, for the talent that we got. I mean, that's just, you know, point blank period. But yeah, you know, I think that hopefully Miami has another couple either high school recruits or preferably college transfers up their sleeve. You know, there's a dude from Rutgers who's an offensive guard who's really good. I forget his name. There's Parker Braun, who's from Orlando originally, and he went to Georgia Tech. He was a 2-time All-ACC offensive lineman. Hey, you're from Florida. come on, 2.5, 3 hours down the road, let's go. But I mean, hopefully there's more moves to be made, but the moves that have been made are substantial.
Do you have a DVR cam?
Yeah,
you can put the basketball game on DVR and just ignore it and don't even think that it's happening live, and then you catch up with it.
Nah, I mean, I'm a multitasker by trade. I mean, obviously, if you've seen me on Twitter, like I live tweet things and live tweet games and whatnot. So I'm just, just looking over out of the corner of my eye a little bit. But, our basketball writers and things are taking care of all the heavy lifting. So I get to be 100% a fan for basketball, which is usually good, but not great this season because it's a little rough for us right now.
Cam Underwood, State of the U, talking up the Canes, of course. So we're in the middle of recruiting, almost at the finish line, and with this transfer portal making big news as well, and Miami making some strides there to supplement the class. And speaking of which, we talked at length last week about Trevon Hill out of Virginia Tech, and also Jalen Phillips. Those two guys are rated number 22 and number 3 and have yet to declare a team. And Jalen Phillips, we certainly highlighted his big freshman campaign at UCLA in just a half a season with 5.5 sacks and 8 tackles for loss. Any hopes out of the ordinary that these guys are leaning your way?
I haven't heard anything past what we spoke about the last time. Like I and several other Canes fans would love to have either or both of those guys. One of our contributors, Marshall Thomas, shout out to Marshall. He said last weekend that his weekend was not going to start until Trevon Hill committed to Miami. And he said that last week on Thursday, and obviously nothing's happened. So the joke is he's never going to have a weekend again in his life, because who knows, if that's actually going to happen. But, I don't have any intel or anything that I've heard or whispers to outside of blind hope and faith to think that those guys are going to come this way. We'll see what happens, really. But I mean, it's like with anything, you have to follow the visits. If they're not taking visits places, then all the social media banter of JJ Phillips putting up edits and being like, oh yeah, I'm coming to Rolling Loud in Miami, this music festival that just got released. The lineup did. So it's $850 for a VIP ticket. So Jalen Phillips quote tweets the Rolling Loud tweet and he says, well, that's $850 out my pocket. Gotta go. So then a couple Hurricanes players are like, oh yeah, we out there. And people are like, oh my God, he's coming. And I'm like, he could, or he could fly in for a weekend and go watch some hip hop or whatever. So I mean, there's no real substantive reports that I've heard, seen, or read about it. But Manny is looking to add talent any way he can. So I'm not ruling it out until those guys are signed and enrolled elsewhere.
Ashley and JT, thank you very much for reminding everyone that they should smash that like button. So you obviously enjoy the conversation here with Cam just about each and every week. So we've got 101 people on the line at the point that you pointed that out. We now have 158 on the line and about 13 likes. We're up to 32 likes. We can do better than that. So it just helps the YouTube algorithms that nobody can decipher, but it just helps. So smash the like button.